So you'll find that they can tell you a little bit more than what you can tell them. But the fact is that you have to make sure that you are relevant. So you have to have show houses. I had an agent who once arrived at my office. He worked the Oakdale area, and he had this small little white cross. And I thought to myself, stupid, somebody has passed away and he's not going to put it up on a tree or whatever. And I said, funny enough, his name was Tom, and I said, Tom, ek is jammer, as iemand oorlede of vir die Witkruisie. Hy sê, nee Selma, ek verklaar Oakdale dood. Ek sê, hoe kan jy Oakdale dood verklaar? You haven't had a mandate in months. You haven't had a show house in months. And now you're declaring the area dead. You're doing nothing. You're dead, man. But you should be on your desk. So in other words, then you say to me, ja, you weet nou dat jy dit sê nou, so ek iets moet doen. He didn't last, okay, because his attitude and the dedication was just not there. You have to keep in shape. What I mean keep in shape is, look, I'm not a gymmer at all. You can see it. I do not like it. I do not like sweating. I do not like anything to do with exercise. Except when I'm in a different country and I can see stuff. Dan stap ek my man weg, deur daai malls en goeders. But it's just amazing. But what I'm telling you is putting up boards is also an exercise. Distributing your leaflets is also an exercise. So if you've got nothing to do, go and take a box of leaflets and just go and distribute it. And you've done your exercise for the day. Like I say, these little watches that you now got, once you start hammering those boards, it tells you, good work, you're doing good now, whatever are the messages that it tells you. My daughter was one day packing my cupboard for me and she says, Ma, ek het nou 'n lekker workout, but my horlosie sê ek werk nou lekker uit. Ek sê nou nog nie elke 3 maande my kas kom regmaak. But anyway, watch TV programs that are relevant to property so that you, because you know what, your buyers and your sellers are also watching these things. And whether it's an American program or not, it creates a perception with them. They start thinking, or remember, every king has his castle. So they start thinking that my house is similar to this, so therefore I should be able to get X amount for my property. If you're watching the program as well, you could say to them, I saw it the other night, but what you must remember is that's in America. It's not South Africa. South Africa, things are different. But you can't make that comment if you don't know what they're talking about. And then lastly, a habit that you have to learn is to be humble. In real estate, arrogance does not work, okay? The only arrogant, and I'm not going to say her name, but there's a lady who's been in the industry in the Belleville, Ridgeworth area for years. She is arrogant. Some people have said, I think people are giving her mandates because she maybe whips them into submission or something. You know, it's crazy. But the other day, she was at one of my workshops, and I was amazed how mellow she has become. Because she was one of those people, if she walks into a room, she's daunting. You've got to stay to greet her, because she had that expression on her face as well. She was extremely successful, and she remains extremely successful. But I can definitely see that age is mellow. But the most important part is, are you humble? Are you appreciative of every mandate? Are you appreciative of every client? And if you're not that, then you have a problem. That's a habit that you have to create. Then we go on to the game. Oops, now we went too far. We need to go on to the game plan. So now we arrive on the island and you have a perception of what you're going to do in real estate. And all of a sudden you realize that the things that you were thinking you could be doing is now not working so well. So I want to give you a few pointers. The first thing, and I've said it so many times and so many people don't listen to me, what you need to realize is every single time you apply for a mandate, when you go and see somebody with a valuation, you are applying for a job. Now, what I want you to do is to have a little A5 brochure with a photograph of yourself. And then on that brochure, it's your CV. You call it your curriculum vitae, okay? And what you do is, you tell people where you were at school. You tell people where did you study. You tell people where you grew up, okay? You tell people what kind of jobs you've had before, okay? The reason for that is, if you grew up in Sutherland, but you went to school at Boys High, and you studied marketing, people who read it, and that person had a family member, a granny who lived in Sutherland, and all of a sudden there's a report. There's something that they recognize. Or Boys High. Geez, he's a Boys High guy, he must have good manners and stuff like that, because I don't know if you know, but Boys High boys have excellent manners. Alright? Hulle staan nog op wanneer jy kom sit by die etenstafel. It's just amazing. So the most important thing that you have to realize is that CV must be about you. Because when you are presenting a valuation, what are you talking about? Your company, you are talking about what the market is about and stuff like that. You don't really talk about yourself. You don't give people, they don't get to know you. Funny enough, last night on the plane, we were sitting and they were ready to leave, and all of a sudden this larger-than-life person strolls down the aisle, glasses on, he looks like a tramp, and it's Ferdinand Rabi. Do you remember him? The first Big Brother. And where does he sit? Next to Mark. He comes and sits here, and we are on the exit aisle so that we can stretch our legs, and he says, Ferdinand, hello, I say, Selma. And Nantes' name is also Ferdinand, so he says Ferdinand, and says, "Wat se kans het? Twee Ferdinands langs mekaar." And we started talking, and I thought to myself, you know what? He is just so humble. He is very well known, but he's just so humble. And then I asked him about Big Brother, and I said to him, you know what? I remember how I sat for hours and I watched you guys. I was dead tired the next day to go to work, but I was so scared of missing something out when you're sitting in the jacuzzi and doing all kinds of talking and stuff. He said, weet jy Selma, die mense wat my werklik ken, is die mense wat Big Brother gekyk het. Want jy kan nie soveel dae tussen 'n klomp vreemdelinge wees en nie een of ander tyd jouself word. You can't have a pretense the whole time. Dis hy so die mense wat daai program gekyk het, ken vir Ferdi. Hulle weet wie ek is. He says, sometimes he walks into a room where there are some of the new CP acteurs, and he has to introduce those people to people. And they're actually annoyed because they're famous, they are Binnelanders or whatever. But the people see them as the characters of what they are playing. But Big Brother and Survivor, they see the person. You can't pretend, you can't fake it the whole time. Your eie persoonlikheid kom weer. So that's what I'm trying to say with your CV is, talk about yourself in a positive manner, put it in a little A5 brochure. When you leave the client, you leave the brochure there. They will read it, okay? And they will remember you because of that. Not because of your business card, not because of your CMA, but because you left that little story of your life. Okay. Declare yourself an area specialist. So what you now must do is, in this difficult market, you have to do what we call prepared brochures on specific areas. So in other words, a brochure on Cambridge. Where was Cambridge started? What are the schools in Cambridge? Is there fibre in Cambridge? What is the average age of the people in Cambridge? So in other words, you do a little A5 Cambridge brochure. You do a Oudtshoorn brochure. You do a Doordekraal brochure. So for every specific area that you are dealing with, you do a brochure on that specific area. Those brochures, remember, longevity is being popular and useful. Useful is giving information that people don't expect. So in other words, when you take out a buyer in the Stellenbosch area, and you say to him, thank you for going out with me today. I'm going to make an appointment. You haven't found anything yet. We're going to see one another again. But here's a brochure on Stellenbosch. People don't do it. And now they will read that brochure on Stellenbosch. Because you know what? They wouldn't have Googled Stellenbosch and the whole history of Stellenbosch. But you're giving them that information. So you have a brochure for every area. So when you go out with a client, you actually give them that brochure. The statistics, the ages, the average prices in the area, the average growth in the area, those kind of things. And obviously a photograph, maybe a Google screenshot photograph of the area. Okay. Communicate with people. Prepare a brochure on how you will get back to them. You know, the interesting thing is you assume that the seller knows that you will get back to them. The seller actually wants to know. They won't ask you how from your work. What you do is you say to him, here's a brochure Thank you for the mandate. Here's the brochure on how and when I'm going to contact you. And if I don't do any of these things, you can complain. I am going to phone you every Monday to give you feedback on what has happened for the week. All right? Because in a depressed market at the moment, you do not take a lot of buyers through a property. So what's happening is the seller feels that you are not working on the property. So even if you have to phone them to say to them, I'm so sorry, we had 200 clicks, we had 20 clicks on your property on Property 24, but we've had no response. I think we should have a show house. Maybe somebody who hasn't had a show house. So in other words, if you give them feedback, even if it's just to say to them nothing happened, the fact is they want you to be in contact with them. En die ding is, ons is geneig om mense te ignoreer. As dit sleg gaan, ons praat eerder nie met hulle nie. The widow, I feel very sorry for her, but I don't know when it's a good time to phone her. There's never a good time, but the fact is she's going to remember the fact that you picked up the phone and phoned her, or sent her WhatsApp just to say, listen, I'm still thinking of you. Those kind of things. And that's what the seller wants. The seller wants you to come back to them. The buyer is going to go with the agent who is useful. So in other words, we haven't seen this property, here's a link for that. Maybe it's a little bit over your price, but if you look at the picture, see if you want to go and view it. This one is slightly cheaper than what you've got in mind, but maybe it's a fixer-upper. So maybe if you want to look at this one, there's some money to be spent, but you're getting it at a cheaper price. So you have to start thinking out of the box. What can I do to be useful? Okay? Referrals. You have to start asking for referrals. In other words, listen, you've had a good experience with me or a bad experience with me. Don't you just want to send me an email and just tell me what your experience with me was? That's why I'm giving you evaluation forms, because I have to evaluate my workshops every once in a while just to see, am I still on track? Am I still relevant? Am I still useful? Okay. Marketing plans. You know, we have the marketing plan on the back of our mandates, but sometimes we have open mandates, and the open mandate does not get a marketing plan. So what you should do is, you should have a little brochure, A5, just for open mandates, where you are saying, listen, I have got a sole mandate with you, so this is what we will be doing for an open mandate. And then at the bottom, this is what we'll be doing for a sole mandate. So then you start seeing, okay, well, you know, open mandate, I'm getting this, sole mandate, I'm getting all of this. Maybe I should rather switch, and maybe I should take a sole mandate with this agency. Okay, so you have to start thinking differently. How am I going to be useful? How am I going to give information? Then, your intuition. You also have to know that sometimes you just have to have that intuition. And most sellers act on intuition. So in other words, if you arrive, and I use the example of a Lamborghini or a Ferrari. So you come in there and you are so slick, Obutan, jy praat en dit gaan nie, woorde kom net uit jou mond uit en dit is net die wonderlike prentjie wat jy skets en alles is net eenvoudig fantasties. I mean, you are so perfect, you don't even hear the noise. Okay? Then those people are going to look at you and think to yourself, I would work with this agent, way too smooth. Okay? Then on the other hand, I'd like you to come and list my property or come and do evaluation. Or can I do evaluation for you? Yes, that would be great. Silence. So when would you like to come? The seller asks you. What about tomorrow? Yeah, tomorrow is fine. What time, he asks you. Oh, what about 4 o'clock? I mean, really? By the time that they are tired of asking all the questions to you, they've already decided that this tortoise, this snail, is never going to sell my property. I'm not going to go for this one. So that's why you have to come in. Valuation, yes, can I do it tonight? Can I come and see you tomorrow? What time will suit you? You have to take control. And there are agents out there that are tortoises and snails. And sometimes they sit in my training room and I think to myself, oh, Foito, jy is so backwards and coming forwards. It's just not true. It's never going to happen. All right. What clients like is somebody who is an agent who's going to tell them what it is, okay, whether they like it or not. And initially you won't have the reaction maybe from the person. But the fact is, you have sowed that seed. And then you have to prove your usefulness thereafter and send them a bunch of information. So don't just accept that no. All right, for the mandate. Don't just accept that no. Say, okay, fine. I respect your wishes and I respect your argument. And then you get back to the office and you say to them, thank you for affording me the opportunity to view your property this afternoon and present you the valuation. I'm just attaching a few articles of interest for you. Okay. These are my successes. This is our company's successes. This is the history of our company. I thought you would find it interesting. So in other words, you're already making contact again. Okay. So don't just accept that there's a no. Then the intuition of that person will kick in and they will start thinking, you know what? This agent has been humble all along. Maybe I should go for that person. That's the one that's going to sell my property rather than this one that is glossing everything. Alright, so you have to shift in strategy. Now what I also want you to do is go and sit as a group, okay, and put figures to this. The client says to you, I can't afford you at 5%. Here's Kathy's slide. I can't afford you at 5%. You're too expensive. There are other people that ask 40,000 rand. So I want to rather go with them. Okay? If you can do it for 40,000, then we can talk. Then you say to them, okay, fine. What I will do is, here is my a la carte list and here's my a la carte menu. For every time that I do a show house for you, I'm going to charge you. So the cost per show house is going to be 1,000 rand. I'm just playing a game with you, but you must put this into practice. Because if you start showing people the logic, then they will understand. So I'm going to charge you per show house, 1,000 rand. I'm going to charge you per viewing. So every time I bring a buyer to your property, I'm going to send you an invoice of 100 rand for the petrol, for the Ubering that I've done to bring this client to your property. I'm going to charge you per advert. So an advert in the property junction costs so much, and this is what your block costs. So when I advertise your property, this is the amount that you will have to pay for an ad. I will charge you per website click. So in other words, we all know Property 24 has become exorbitantly expensive, and every single click you are paying for. And you know what agents are doing? Clicking. They are clicking their opposition and forcing you to spend money. Nasty. Okay? Now I'm not saying do unto others what they do unto you, because it's a very bad thing. But anyway, so every website click costs me X amount. And we've had about 200 clicks on a property similar to yours. So that's what it's going to cost you in terms of website clicks. And then for every offer that I present to you, I'm going to charge you 5,000 rand. For every offer. Whether the offer is accepted or whether the offer is not accepted, I'm going to charge you per offer. Okay? And then I'm going to charge you for the closed deal. In other words, at the end of the day, when we get an offer that we're going to accept, you're going to pay me 20,000 or 30,000 rand for that offer. And then that seller's going to look at you and say, maar jy is dan seker nou heeltemal van jou kop af. Dat jy, ek gaan al hierdie goed betaal, nog voordat jy my huis verkoop het. En dan sê jy vir hom, dis presies wat ek doen. I am spending all of this time, I'm spending all of this money, pro bono, without the assurance that I'm going to sell your property. But I care about your property, so therefore I do this. But I can tell you that the 40,000 rand fixed price agent is not doing all of this. They can't afford it. There's not enough money in the 40,000 for them to offer all of this. So you have to, at the end of the day, decide, am I going to go for the 5%? Where somebody is I'm only going to pay that 5% once the job has been done. That I have the assurance that I've got an agent who's going to do all these things free of charge until we get to that closed deal. So what I say to you, Mr. Sunder, is if you can't afford me, think about what you can afford and what are you going to get. And what you must also realize is, my 5% is included in the purchase price. So at the end of the day, it's the buyer that is actually paying this amount, because you know what you are going to bottom line. So in actual fact, I'm not costing you money, I'm costing money to the buyer. So are you going to go for the cheaper option and get a Forksy, or are you going to go for the more expensive option and get a Woolies or a Mercedes? You know what I'm saying? And can I tell you, when agents come to me and they say to me, Salma, your training is too expensive, can't afford you, then I say to them, that is my price. That is my price. What I will offer you are installments. So in other words, you can pay it off. But you can definitely, I'm not negotiating my price, because I believe my product is worth that price. My service is worth that price. So what you should say is, my service is worth 5%. If you go to Pam Golding, they're going to charge you 7.5%. But I'm going to give you exactly what Pam Golding is doing, because there's my job description. Okay? And what you have to realize is, when I show somebody else's house, those buyers that I pick up there, they don't buy that house, are the people that I bring to your house. So there's a reciprocity. Am I right? Is that the word? Happening the whole time. So it's very important that you have to show them. And I mean, this is reducing it to the ridiculous. But then they actually understand what you are about.
So, but the 4% agent will do exactly the same as what the 5% agent does?
Yes, yes.
And
so,
offer the same?
Yes, so you have a little bit of a problem with the 4 and the 5%, but the 40,000, the fixed fees, the 39,995, and I already see that ACT or ACT, whatever they are, they started at 25, they've already gone up, they're now saying from 40 up. So in other words, they're already realizing you can't survive on 25,000, you can't have an agency at 25,000, you can't have the branding at 25,000, it is virtually impossible. And Facebook is not going to sell all your properties. You have to start going to property 24. And if you start going to property 24, you can't afford it on 25,000 comp. So at some other stage, you have to realize that yes, you have a problem with the 4 and the 5%. But then what I would say to them is, my price is 5%. If I arrive with an offer which is not great, then let's negotiate.
Yes.
But you can't negotiate before I've done the job. Let me first do the job. Okay, and then we can talk. So give me the opportunity. That's what I would do. All right.
Because Pam Golding would give it at 4%, huh? Pam Golding, they not at least 7 and 6%.
Because they realize that in a depressed market, they have to start. If you don't join them, and that's what happened in 2002. The commission rate was 7.5% plus VAT until we were reported through the Competition Commission. And then the agency started charging their own prices. So we had people like Janina she was charging 1%. Then she went up to 2%, and I think she's now 4%, she's now 3%. So the fact is, she also realized that I can't survive on 1%. So yes, all these people that come in with these cheaper offers, are they there? Are they still there after, how old is Hillsong?
30 years this year.
30 years old. That's longevity. We're still relevant, we're still number one choice, and we are still useful. So therefore we have longevity. So somebody who's offering you 30-40%, how long have they been in the industry? 3-4 years? All right. What you also have to do is you have to have a shift in strategy. You have to realize that you have to become more web savvy. You have to engage with social media networks and stuff like that. We're going to offer a CPD session soon on social networking. So it's something that you have to start realizing, where does business come from? Where are people looking on the internet for real estate agents? And what you have to understand is, unfortunately, the branding has been lost through Property 24. Branding has been lost. In the past, somebody would phone AIDA. They would phone SEEF. They would phone Pam Golding. What they are now doing is, or they would go to their websites. What they now do is, the first thing that goes, Property 24, private seller. or what's that other one? There's another one.
Private property.
Private property. They'll go and look at those websites. And they basically go for the person who has the relevant stock. No loyalty. So what you have to understand is, how can I become popular? How can I be useful? I have to be there. I have to make sure I've got adverts on the web that are continuously changed. Sometimes I have to show somebody else my advert and just say, you know what, isn't it appealing enough? What's going on? Gee my 'n bietjie raad, moet ek 'n paar woorde verander nie. Nee, partykeer moet 'n mens net begin dink, kom ons kry die ander mense in. Also, your shifting strategy is remember Real Estate 101. What is Real Estate 101? What is the ABC? Always be canvassing. None of you have a hillside badge on. None of you. Now the guys don't really like these badges because they feel like it's a little bit of a jewelry that they don't want. What you have to realize is, when I walk into the spa, when I walk into the shopping centre, and Hillside's offices is over there, I don't know that you are an agent. If you are wearing your badge, and I'm looking for a rental property in the area, and I've been driving around, I will look at you and I'll say, luister, ek sien jy's 'n eiendomsagent, weet jy van enige huurhuise in die omgewing? Wel, ons kantoor doen verhuurings, maar watter prysklas kyk julle? So 12.500, 13.000, maar kom ons kyk of ons nie vir julle 'n huis kan kry nie, want vir daardie soort geld kan ons miskien maar eerder 'n verwant betaal. Do you see what I'm saying? But if you didn't have your badge on, they don't know that you are an agent. And you can't be a 007 in real estate. You can't be a secret agent. People need to know who you are, what you are doing. All right?